Connecting. And I believe we're live. We're good. So, welcome to another episode of the Union of the Unwanted. We're back to our regular schedule. So, we'll actually be live streaming every other Monday at 7 p.m. like we used to. So, look forward to that. You can go to theunionoftheunwanted.com to find links to our Rumble channel. YouTube keeps letting us stream. So, for the times being, we'll keep doing that so we can, maybe exposed some normies to some interesting conversations they're not getting on YouTube typically. And then also our shows are always uploaded to our Rumble channel. So that's kind of the primary spot. When eventually we get kicked off YouTube, I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. You can find all the videos on Rumble. And then the audio is available on all the audio platforms soon after the live stream. So typically within a day or two, you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, and all that stuff. And go to theunionoftheunwanted.com to find all those links and more. Also, our social media accounts and merch and plenty of other stuff. But that's it for the business, if that's what you want to call it. And then we'll go on to the conversation to why Tease looks tired. And maybe I'll throw it to Charlie to fill everybody in and get this.
Partially responsible for that.
So yeah, so you went to a event that you've been going to regularly for a couple years now, Charlie. You want to fill everybody in on what that event was, maybe
Yeah.
some info about it, and then who joined you on the call?
Oh yeah, it was Anarchapulco 2025, Acapulco, Mexico. This is the fifth time I've gone, and I wrote a book with Jeff Berwick. He's the founder of the event, so obviously I have that connection in there, and so I've been a speaker three times, and this an MC now the second time, and it's it's like the best week of my life. Every time I go down, it started off stressful. They canceled a flight. I had to overnight. I literally got there the morning of the event and was running down the aisle with the producer on the stage announcing to the crowd that she wasn't sure if I was even going to get there. And as she was saying that, I was like running to the stage. Like I just barely got there. So I started off like just happy to be there. And immediately the first thing I did was interview David Icke remotely.
Nice.
And that just like set the tone for it. And then from that point on, we were just fucking flying. We were cooking. I mean, everything was like on schedule. The place was packed. The weather was great. It was set up. It was organized. Like everything like went very smooth. And so
So,
what about Miriam was there and Teese was there as well. And I'd be interested to hear how they felt it went.
Shall I start first, Tease?
Yeah.
Sorry.
why did you guys
Ladies
want to
first.
go? Why did you guys want to go to the event? Was there specific people that you met or wanted to meet about the event? Also, yeah, maybe Charlie, if you want to add to that too, please do also. And then also, what's the like one of the goals of the event? They've been doing it every year.
Yeah.
Is there a philosophy to why, to continue to try to grow it and the purpose of it?
Well, it's evolved over the years, and now each day is a different concept. The first one is fuck the government, and next day is health and wellness, next day is crypto, next day is, spiritual healings and things like that. And then after that, there are people telling you how to unschool your kids, or there's author book panels and everything. So there's so much going on, and each day is kind of a different thing. And then you can add on these workshops that a lot of the speakers do. In addition to just speaking, they offer a workshop. So you can get like, if you want to talk to Dr. Andrew Kaufman, like really like get down into his program, he's got a 3-hour workshop that you can sign up for. And they make it easy for you to do that and pay for it with crypto. And so there's like a lot of that going on. And so it's just, there's something happening from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. all over the place, and there's always something, to do. So it's and you can be into health and wellness and have no interest in sound money and come out and go, shit, I think I need to get some Bitcoin and some gold and silver. You know what I mean?
Hi,
So it exposes people to a bunch of different concepts that they might not normally think they were into, but they sit through these interesting talks and they come out and they're like, holy shit, like like the whole world seems totally different. Or then they go do a ceremony somewhere and they've never been able to do that before, and they come back to the event and they're like, holy shit, I just smoked bufo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do
so
know
there's a
how you
lot
mean.
of that happening too. So like Ricky, like everybody's trip is totally different. You pick the shows you want, the talks you want to watch, or when you want to eat, and you wind up in the smoking section or this section. I mean, like it's just everybody's constantly buzzing around and it's a really good vibe. But I have to announce something, that they are moving it next year to Puerto Vallarta. It will not be in Acapulco. And the reason is that it logistically is a whole lot easier for flights because everybody was having on average 3 flights
Right.
to get there. They sort of polled the audience. And the producers and Jeff were like, you know what, that's just like it's asking a lot of the customer, of the Anarchapulco crowd to not only pay but have to really have complicated travel trying to get into Acapulco, which is a pain in the ass. But you can get a direct flight from Rome to Puerto Vallarta,
Wow.
and it opens it up to a much broader audience, and also a facility that can hold uh, more people. So Jeff was saying that he was expecting these attendee like list to like triple next year
Wow.
when given the opportunity in the right space with the right logistics. Because there was some stuff that they don't talk about, that the producers don't talk about, but there was some political shit going on that was making everything extremely difficult to get done. And they pulled off that in Acapulco in spite of all that shit. And they're like, we can do this so much easier elsewhere. So they made the call and they are moving it. So
I'd love
uh,
to add to that, to all of
yeah,
it. I also had a fantastic time. It's my third year, and I'm pretty much a hermit and literally like wait for the whole year. And over the last 2 years, I basically became kind of like the resident DJ's dancer. So not only do I look forward to meeting people like Teese in person and Charlie, but also other people who are like-minded that care about learning. And the theme was ascendant. So when I got there, and also the event, it is buzzing around. It's outside. Personally, I've gone to many conferences and I'm so sensitive that I can't even handle 3 days in an air-conditioned fluorescent lights.
yeah.
So even though it's hot, like obviously T's coming from Canada, he was like literally kind of melting in a very cool shirt
Yeah.
when I saw him. But it was great to meet him in person. And yeah, it was really a really good vibe. Some of the highlights, and I would say, myself included, that I'm going to watch the replay because
Right.
I was in my element and just speaking to people and bopping around, buzzing around, that there were many talks that were just phenomenal that I didn't get to see. And I like to just, so it's still not too late. Would you?
I agree. I missed it 2/3 of the talks because I was elsewhere
Yeah.
doing the Tesla machine.
Yeah. So some of the highlights, Stu Peters was there, and
Yeah.
that was controversial. It was great for
Yep.
me. I enjoyed meeting him because and he was very kind and gave me a lot of accolades for my investigative work with George Floyd, and also did Jeff Berwick. And we got to try out the Tesla machine, which was awesome, and learn how it works, and just a lot of great dancing, just awesome. And there was a flat earth debate that was conducted. I didn't see it yet, but my friend Attila Schwartz debated with David Weiss and
Yeah, I saw part of it.
Avocado Wolf and I think Andrew Kaufman.
Chris Harlicher. He's a
Chris was on it. Yeah, Chris was on
Berwick's
it.
partner.
Yeah.
On Dollar Vigilante.
We got a smile from Tease. What you want to say something?
Hey man, it was. Can I just say something? Tease is a fucking trooper, dude. He hung in there, and I dragged him all over the place.
Yeah. So for anyone who wants to know why I'm like bordering on death right now, I've been in Mexico for the last 3 weeks on assignment, doing like the Greater Reset conference, then hanging out with her Jorge for a week in Guadalajara, bumping back and forth between cities to interview people. And then I ended up in Anarchapulco just in time to be sick for the entire time that I was there, with a 50+ degree Celsius shift from what it is back in Canada to melt the entire time. So when you're shooting volcanic eruptions out the back end while simultaneously sweating everything that you've taken in, it puts you more than a little bit thin. And then I'm out there trying to follow everything with like a freaking camera that weighs the equivalent of like an AR-15, pointing everyone downwind of it without trying to catch my gas, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what I've been doing the last few weeks. It was an interesting festival. I'm really tired. So it was nice meeting all of you. That's pretty much what happened.
Well, let's be honest. These AR-15s don't weigh that much.
No, his
don't.
camera was I held it. It was surprisingly heavy.
Yeah, I'm sure his camera was heavy, but you know,
when you can't put them down all day and you're constantly, it's a different thing. That's all I'm saying. Just like add all of the sights and rigs or whatever you need to make it so that
you
it's
see that I just now replaced the mic arm. I've spent years holding a heavy microphone for 3 hours a day.
Steve,
every day.
When we meet each other in a month from now, you're going to see that I'm actually a rather hefty individual, and your scrawny
I know that, buddy.
And struggling with the microphone is just not as impressive. Like, no.
Charlie sent me a picture of the panel, the director's panel. I know.
Tease, did you? Well, I didn't know that you were having some explosions and such.
I was sick the entire time.
I didn't want to
Were you? I would have given you some silver. Were you hydrating?
I was drinking all of the everything except alcohol, and yeah. Mexico is a bitch, man. I don't know. It's my first time there. I was not expecting that. That was a lot.
It's a grind. It's that event is outside, and it is it's
I love it.
hot. So
hey, Miriam, are you off Twitter right now? Because I can't type in your ad. I'm trying to tag everybody right now.
The digital assassination has seemingly taken on some new heights. Actually, Chris Horlaker, Charlie, was sending me Telegram messages, and found out that he's been sending me messages for a year, and I never even got one.
I'm trying to tag you right now, and you're not popping up. I pulled up, like I've typed in the 2 ats that I have for you fully, and they won't pop up for me.
Can you manually type it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm asking.
I'm on there. I see myself.
Twitter's been disgusting nowadays. It's so fucking ridiculous with Twitter.
It's just not letting me find you or tag you.
That's nice. Feels good.
I don't know why certain assholes just keep popping up in my feed. Nobody even reposts their stuff who follows me, but it's like narrative management at its finest right now.
When I streamed Day Zero, which Charlie and I do together on Sundays, to Twitter, for a while it was like, 500 people were watching live or whatever. It was big numbers. And then now it's like 5,
right,
2. Right. I'm like, you fucking assholes.
Yeah,
Can anyone else look?
And as soon as I said something, now you pop up.
Oh, good. Well, there you go.
I've been trying for 5 minutes.
Wow.
Literally 5 minutes to tag you. Nothing. I don't know. It's the world we live in.
Hey, speaking of live events, Steve,
April 4th, 5th, and 6th, we are gathering with intent in friendship, fellowship, and kinship in Portland, Tennessee, which is about a half an hour north of Nashville. We're throwing another Third Eye Carnival, which, thanks to T. Snyder, this thing exists in the first place. We're doing a rager. You guys, I hate conferences. I do. I hate the whole atmosphere. I hate the environment around them. I don't get along with most of the people that presented them. So instead, what we're doing is an evening of live music that is going to be performed by your favorite podcasters' favorite podcasters. Ryan Christian, the Last American Vagabond, and I have been threatening to throw a co-birthday party for a couple of years. Probably about 5 years at this point. We found an excuse. Ryan and I were both born right at the beginning of April. And we both play music. So we're getting together with a number of other people that also play music, including Scott Armstrong, Gene Owens from Faithless Town, Frank Kavanaugh, who used to play bass in the band Filter. This
cool.
close. Yeah, Frank's solid.
Yeah, I met him in Austin.
I'm trying to get him to drag Greg Reese down too, because they're
that'd be great.
Yeah, and they're working on an album. They have like 21 songs that they've written. And they will be dropping that shortly. Let's see who else. There's all kinds of you that do this and then also do that. So Friday night is just gonna be music and jam. Spiderland, who helped organize Third Eye in Pueblo, Colorado, both years that we've done that. We're running it back in Pueblo too. So if you can't make it to the Nashville one, try to get out to Pueblo, Colorado for the 4th of July one. Pasta is going to cook. Yeah.
Not pasta though.
No.
Just so Marion knows, not pasta. At least a lot of meat products, but
it's I'm talking to Texas Slim from the Beef Initiative. There's going to be a representative there with like clean food the entire time. Saturday, we're doing live podcasts and live stand-up comedy. Charlie Robinson's going to be there.
Wow.
I'm coming.
Yeah. Tony Arterburn. And the stand-up is going to be Brad Binkley from the Propaganda Report, who's been on Union of the Unwanted before, Leonardo Joni, who's been blowing up like crazy over the last year or so, and then Sam Tripoli is going to headline. Sunday, the property owner hosts a thing that she calls Cowboy Church. So we're all going to go to church on Sunday morning, or the people who want to go to church on Sunday morning are going to go to church. Everybody else can do whatever the heck they want. We'll probably do another, live podcast or two, and then we'll start to clean up and Monday morning kick everyone out. But if you would like to, please go to Anartist, ANARTIST Collective, anartistcollective.com. Click on the events and go get your tickets. I understand that the vast majority of the people who watch my show are blue collar. So for an entire weekend of all of this with absolute murderers, $90, including camping, because it's on an 18-acre farm that has a minimum of 10 bonfire pits.
Wow.
We're throwing down. Do you wrap your head around everything I just said? Because that's the coolest party that you're going to go to this year. It is. And we're doing it for less than $100 because people don't need to be extorted to have a good time.
Yeah, but does your party have baby oil?
It's GHB free baby oil. Yeah, GHB free. But yeah, there may be some.
Oh, that's
coconut oil is preferable.
That's actually what I use.
Ricky, you should come.
Well, we'll have our tallow line by then.
You should come
that's great.
And actually, and the Beef Initiative
and everybody else on Friday, you should throw down. You should have, dude.
Ricky, you should come.
Show up. I would love that.
Where's the location?
Portland, Tennessee. It's about 35 minutes directly north of Nashville. Right, very close
you
to
can get a flight into
Tennessee.
Nashville.
We will have our tallow by then, and actually the Beef Initiative is going to sell it. We've already spoken to them. So.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Courtney. I like your
Thank you.
purple microphone.
Thank you. My purple theme.
That does, just hanging around a fire and just having some whiskey, and I'm a big bourbon guy, so I just like having a cigar, having a whiskey, just chilling. Like that's my type of event. I will say, I've been to the Red Pill Expo. I had a blast in 2019. I was there, Richard Grove, a dear friend of mine, support him, and got to meet a lot of really awesome people. But I will say, if you're there all day, it gets. It reminds me like I'm in school, like I'm just like barely, staying awake, and it can, the lecture, and especially like us, because we're so deep in this information, like it's rare that you're hearing something like new and fresh that you haven't heard already, so it can be kind of repetitive. I mean, obviously meeting G. Edward Griffin and some of the other OGs there was really phenomenal and a blast. But I do like the idea of like more hanging out and less maybe lectures, that I think that's a great idea.
This is all about building community, reminding people that they're not alone. We try to get as many locals as possible. In Pueblo, it's all local bands that show up and play. And I really, I think that, again, when we gather with intent, when we gather in friendship, kinship, and fellowship, that we really have the opportunity to shift the needle. So that's, the impetus behind these in-person events. It really is. Tease, if you want to add anything to this is your baby too, man.
I am not responsible for anything that goes horribly wrong, but I will be filming it.
I really feel like connection is something that humans need more of, to be in person with each other. And campfires are the oldest ritual we have, and that's where the deepest magic happens, especially when you're doing it with this intention of fellowship. So it's going to be pretty beautiful.
That's awesome.
Oh, and Lindsay has been to both events in Pueblo, both Third Eye Carnivals in Pueblo,
and
along
so
with
have I.
Charlie.
And it's always fun. Corey Hughes and I shared a room down there last year, so
That's awesome.
I throw a good party, man. I do.
We had a blast, man. We enjoyed ourselves a lot. I felt I really needed that trip, and it was so fun. And the people were great. The location is obviously perfect at Blowback Gallery.
Shout out to Jeff Medine.
Yeah, for sure. That guy is fantastic, and he throws a good party, and so all good. Yeah, I don't think they want us getting together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So
I think
we're gonna do it because fuck them.
I think they would prefer that we not do things like this. So
that's why
we must do them.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of,
I spent the past several years doing just that.
Yeah,
that's what Cause Fest was all about.
Why.
That's all of the we've done several conferences over the past few years.
Yeah.
Speaking of
so
that,
I encourage these.
My husband and I, like just us. Yeah.
I encourage these live events.
Yeah, the live events are awesome, and
take advantage of them while you can. I mean, holy shit, you never know who you're going to talk to or meet, or somebody's going to talk about something you had no idea, and it's going to send you on a whole different trajectory for the rest of your life.
Well, and you never know when a platform that you stream on is going to go away.
That's
yeah.
That's true.
Or when you're going to go away from a certain platform.
Ooh. Are we not on Rockfin tonight, Ricky? Or
we stopped live streaming on Rockfin. It seems like the safe bet is for alternative platforms. It looks like Rumble is going to be the one that's going to be around for a while. So they, I know a lot of people complain about the funding, but that's also one of the.
We make no representation of any sort of alliance with Rumble at all. It's just, I mean, Rockfin has shit the bed. Let's be honest.
Well, I said it before, I'll say it again. Rumble is just as shitty as everyone else in that they have deleted thousands of my subscribers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No explanation.
Agree. Agree.
And then gaslight me about it and tell me it didn't happen. And
they roll my view counts backwards. They bury the channel.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you guys weren't so mean to Peter Thiel, point out all the Bilderberg stuff, he wouldn't do that to you guys.
Not to mention the thousands of dollars in tips that you get on Rockfin that nobody knows how to collect. You know,
well,
I've never seen anything.
You can't seem to collect them.
You lose money.
I haven't tried, but I want.
People are losing money.
No, they have no way to reach out about it.
What?
Well, they do. They have everyone's email address. They can communicate. They have your phone number when you onboard.
I know, but they have not.
How about the person we were all interacting with when we first got on Rockfin?
You mean the one that's been on the show a few times?
Well, okay. So Jaime left a year and a half ago. Martin is basically the only one there, and they're deplatforming currently people who put out free content. John Fitch doesn't have a channel there anymore. Beth Martins doesn't have a channel there anymore. This is all as of today or last night.
So what happened? Did they get subverted like everything else?
So okay, and I may be crazy for suggesting this, and please feel free to talk me down. But a couple of days ago, I called out Rumble, and I said, hey guys, if you would please stop burying my show, that would be great. I would appreciate that. Because, and then I put up a screenshot. I follow everyone on Rockfin because occasionally I like to see how the show's doing. So every once in a while, I'll check like top of the week or top of the month or something like that. And so I posted a screenshot from Rockfin. Like if if people are allowed access to the show, it dominates. And out of the top 12 shows of the month, it was me and Richard Grove.
Wow.
And that was it. That was it. I had 8 of the top 12 shows for the month. AM Wake Up did. And a lot of the credit to that goes to Tease and Ryan Christian, who come on the show and stuff like that. Like they help make it. But it's AM Wake Up and Grand Theft World. And that's it. That's the whole fucking platform. And then when you go down from there, it's Sam Tripoli and Ryan Christian, and there's David Knight. Everyone that I just mentioned gives free content on the platform. And a little bit further down thread, somebody was like, well, what about Rumble? And I'm like, well, Rumble's right-wing YouTube,
Totally. It's the same thing. Exactly that. That's how I see it as well.
And then I said, Rockfin is deliberately tanking their platform because they are. They've never addressed any of the issues with the mobile app. They've never addressed any issues with the chat. They started charging people more money for less features. I didn't even go into that initially. I butted heads with Odyssey a couple of weeks ago because from the content creator perspective, it's cumbersome. It is. Yeah. It's great from an audience member perspective. Odyssey's fantastic. As far as that, but setting up a live stream and doing a show there, difficult. So, I addressed that. I didn't even bring up the honeypot that is BitChute at all in the post. And out of nowhere, Rockfin shows up and they start trying to talk shit to me.
How so?
Well, I'll link the entire thread. I know we don't pull that stuff up here.
What thread? Where?
On Twitter?
Yeah. But it's really hard to find. Thank you, dear. Love you.
Well, I think
what are you doing?
One thing that's really important is utilize your RSS feed. It really is the best way of getting your information out there. Use a app like Podcast Addict that can subscribe directly to your RSS feed. That there's no middleman, there's no Spotify, there's no iTunes. They go directly to your feed. They, nobody gets in the way. Like these video platforms are all going to have issues. And really, if people are a fan of our work, like go to our RSS feed. Make sure you follow us there. And it's one of the few.
How do you enable that, Ricky?
I could.
How do you enable the RSS
feed? Well, you have to go to a host website, and I got to be honest. Like, I've been with Podomatic since 2013. They're a little bit behind with certain things in regards, but it's because everything that they implement, they want it to be the best. And
what are they called?
It's Podomatic. They're my host website or my host for my RSS feed. During COVID, I had issues with iTunes shows like Mickey Willis and Del Bigtree not showing up, and they went to bat for me and they fought with iTunes, try to figure out what the issue was. Eventually, the shows reappeared. Anytime I've had any issue, they've been more than happy to help out, and they don't ever censor anything. I know the CEO really well. Throughout the years, I've had some interaction with them and got to know them and got a good vibe from them. That's the thing about Rockfin is like, I hate to say it, but like there's certain people that you meet that you're like, okay, they're kind of looking at it like more like a business than us who are looking at this as like this is crucial work and important. And obviously none of us are into this just to make profit and make money because there's other ways, much better ways of making money than going against the grain and being censored everywhere.
Ricky, I agree with you 100% on all of this. And yes, everyone should, have their own RSS feed, and that's vital to what we do. My whole point in all of this is that when Rockfin received a mild little bit of pushback, they gaslit the fuck out of me. And they lied to me and they lied to everybody else. And they've been in a position for the last 6 months where they've not been paying out, or they've been paying out in USDC. They didn't.
Let me jump in real quick and say why, though, right? Let's talk a little bit about why, because I think the question was asked why. And as one of the first original people on Rockfin, with the convo couch, I mean, we were like old school. When Graham Elwood, Ron Pacone, who I just heard from today out of the blue, came to me and said, hey, man, there's this new platform, Rockfin. And we were looking at it because at the time we were starting to get censored. The Convo Couch was for some of the Epstein work we were doing, which was gathering just a lot of the information that you find people put out there. But we were kind of bringing it to this, once again, this leftist Bernie Sanders kind of group. And we were getting like really huge numbers with it. But the censorship coming with that, we were starting to look elsewhere. Rockfin came to us. I would describe it, and AM Wake Up, right? So we quickly got to 200 live viewers almost every single morning, like right out of the gate. No help from them, no recognition. I mean, that show has been one of the #1 watched shows and has been a consistent show since it's come out. But I think with Rockfin, and maybe you guys might agree or disagree, is I think it never really found out who it was or discovered who it was. It was constantly making these changes, right? Going to the UFC crowd, going to the wrestling crowd, not really kind of having an identity. At one point, it seemed like it would do that when it onboarded Eddie Bravo. Yeah, I mean, because when you think about it, a lot of my friends, on the so-called left or whatever you want to call them, that when they were getting kind of fed up with Rockfin and moving on, they were like, yeah, it's more of what they would call a conspiracy theory platform or truther platform. But it's kind of weird when you think about that Union of the Wanted ain't there, because that was like, it became like that Eddie Bravo kind of group. Sam started, spiking up over there. And it was a great way to get around the censorship, but a lack of identity. And I think maybe, and I'm just taking a shot at this because I've heard rumors before, is that they were maybe trying to build it up to sell it, but never really got the price asking for. And now it's kind of just whittled away, because it did sponsor certain people I know, you know what I'm saying? And they bet on certain people that eventually left the platform, and they left the platform pretty quickly. So it was really just the kind of like a marketing mess rather than being what it really should have been, what you just talked about, you know, Ricky, was this whole place where we can go. I'm so thankful. When I got demonetized on Convo, when the Convo Couch got demonetized, when we started doing our election stuff, when you couldn't talk about elections, if it wasn't for Rockfin, I wouldn't even be here right now. I was able to move my whole audience over there, not the whole audience, you know, but a decent amount of audience, you know, because at one point we were getting, you know, 7,000 to 8,000 live stream viewers at one time on YouTube, and then you just get the jolt, the demonetization, you're thrown out of the algorithm. So I was very thankful for Rockfin, you know, was there for us, but it's a disappointment that it wasn't the spot we all ended up at, because I thought it made improvements when it added the tip, but it's just a shame because it's just
Can I
think
just
it's
say
just lost its
something
way.
real quick? Sorry, I want to jump in. Listen, there's a bunch of things that are going on with Rockfin that, you know, I'm going to say that Martin and all the guys over there, like, I feel like they were trying really hard. I think when they went to $15, the wind completely came out of their sails. Completely came out of the sails. It was cooking with gas at $10. I told them this in a phone call 2 weeks ago. When you went to $15, the wind came completely out of the sails. What I was trying to do with them was trying not to make it just a banned people platform. I was trying to bring in more mainstream comedians that would bring a balance to it. You know, like Lee Camp was a great example of someone else on the other side, but even Lee Camp, who is great, is a you know, a political thing. I kept telling you got to get regular stuff on here. And then here's what I think it is, dude. And I saw people saying it earlier. Jason Baramis was saying this. Is like when you start bringing on all the savages because you're getting kind of traction with this crowd, that makes you dangerous to people. And when you're on the Amazon platform, then you're setting yourself up to get shadow banned. And I think that's really what started to happen.
Well, Sam, could you maybe talk about what Eddie said at your Kansas City show last year about why he left Rockfin?
Well, because Eddie, they wanted to bring Eddie on because Eddie was two worlds. He was, you know, he's like one of the biggest names in the conspiracy world, and jiu-jitsu, and they wanted to start moving more into sports too, because that was the original platform, was live streaming sports. And they wanted to bring in, try to do maybe some jiu-jitsu events with him. And he was a name, you know, he could go on Rogan, say Rockfin, bring people over there. I just feel like, and there was some stuff going on with Martin, who I'm just going to say this. I think Martin had a good heart. I would always talk to Martin about like what he wanted to do. And he was always about like free speech and all that stuff. But like when you see what we all went through in terms of being shadow banned, now he's bringing all them onto his platform. You don't think people are going to start going like, hey, let's shadow ban this shit. Let's do all that. I think they tried. I know that Martin also has a big case with some people involving an old platform, Rockfin, and that he's stuck in this legal case that's tying up a lot of his funds. So that's what I want to say. I just feel that, like, again, going back to what Ricky's saying with the RSS feed, on my personal website, I put up everything. It's decentralized. My website guys who build it have decentralized it. They figured out how you can put all your content on there. I get it. I just want to say that I feel like Rockfin tried, and I just feel like they brought on so many savages that the powers that be saw it and just made it impossible for it to thrive. And the going from $10 to $15, I think, was a death blow. I think it was too much money for this market. That's my opinion.
So can you still redeem your R8 token? That's what I care about.
It's USDC now. They haven't paid out and raised since like September or October of last year.
I don't even know what the difference is, but you can.
Sam, I agree with almost everything you said, except for they tried to host a wrestling tournament over the weekend, and I'm gonna read out the post that Journeyman Wrestling put on their Facebook account. Everyone with access to Facebook can go find Journeyman Wrestling and read this so that you know I'm not talking out of my ass. Journeyman Wrestling says, we would like to extend sincerest apologies to the teams who competed and the fans who attempted to watch the Collegiate Duels 4.0 this weekend. We understand the frustration many of you experienced when trying to access the event through Rockfin, the streaming platform. We invested tens of thousands of dollars into the production to deliver a high quality streaming experience for fans at home. Our production team, specialists, and main crew from Innsworth worked tirelessly to create a top tier product. Unfortunately, despite these efforts, the stream was difficult to locate, maintain, and access. We have since become aware of public concerns regarding the potential issues with Rockfin and its current state of operations. However, we were not informed of any such concerns. If they exist prior to committing the service. Once again, we deeply regret any inconvenience caused by the collegiate duels. At Journeyman Wrestling, we're committed to excellence. So they're even on the sports end, they're dropping the ball.
Right. But I know that, well, that would totally make sense, Stephen, because the website is in trouble right now. So anybody doing anything on there is going to be somewhat of a clusterfuck. I know that. I'm just telling you what the history of Rockfin was, which was a sports streaming website. They brought a bunch of people in from the truther community. And listen, man, I just got in trouble. I put the word midget on Instagram, and I got a community note from Instagram. And then Instagram shared a video with me with hundreds of thousands of views, a guy talking about how he became friends with a gay Jewish midget in the same day, in the same like 30 minutes. So yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying, Stephen. The website is in trouble. I'm just telling you that one, I really do believe Martin tried. And I'm having my issues with them as well.
I believe he was good-hearted too.
I've been on
I
since
believe he was good-hearted too.
I've been on since 2019. Like Pasta was there a little bit before me. I'm one of the first people on there. I've publicly defended Rockfin a number of times. Maybe to my detriment, you know, as far as the audience goes, because my audience is a particular brand of savages. But like, dude, I'll tell people all day, every day, I don't have a show without Rockfin, and I don't have a show without Sam Tripoli. I don't.
Yeah, dude, I love you. I'm not. This isn't like personal or anything. I'm just. Yeah. I totally get what you do. I'm just saying. This is all I want to say. Is like we know the battle that every square here has. Every square has this battle, and like when somebody tries to be like, I want to do free speech. Eventually, when they get big enough, the fucking lizards come. And they start to pound on these people.
Fuck yeah.
And it's just, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I'm not shocked by any of this. When people on Twitter are going nuts, and I'm not an Elon Musk fan. This is not me saying anything positive about Elon Musk. But when they're like, oh, I got dinged for my Zionist pro-Palestinian shit. No shit. I know that's happening. This is the way. This is the way we go. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm also not shocked by when these things happen. This is what happens when you try. I have a friend of mine, Leonardo Joni. We all know her. She's getting all of her gigs canceled, and I feel for her because I love her. But I also know a lot of these comedy club owners, and they all want to do free speech. They all believe people should say what they want to say, but the amount of chaos coming at them all the time, like not just from people who are like would buy tickets, but comedians that they need to play their clubs, to sell tickets, are like, I won't play your club if you play her. I think she has a right to do whatever she wants. I could sit here forever and tell you the bullshit of political correctness, but I'm also not shocked by things that we felt forever. That's all I'm saying. I'm not defending Rockfin. I'm just saying, Martin, I think Martin tried.
At least you can go to the Third Eye Carnival in Nashville, April 4th through 6th, and watch Leonardo and Sam do comedy.
Let's go,
in front of
bro.
people.
I'm all about that. I'm just kind of numb to it. It's like, it's like every time I go on somebody's shows, they're like, I didn't see your Instagram. I'm like, I'm shadow banned. I'm almost done talking about it because it's just the way of life. I can't get anybody.
I get it. I keep waiting to get kicked off. I keep telling people I've been kicked out of better bars by bigger bouncers. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't want to be fucked with.
So if we're all going to keep getting fucked this hard by censorship, at what point are we going to start turning to posting conspiracy shit on Pornhub and other such like purveyors of fuckery?
That's what I said. I want to have an OnlyFans and just do the show on OnlyFans, not even naked.
Do they get censored? So if I start going hardcore, like
is...
people getting fucked are actually going to get like a free pass and we're going to get cut off? That's how that works? All right. Good to know.
I'll just say though, RSS feeds are actually the way to go. Like getting a podcast, audio podcast is like, that's the way that seems like it to go. But it doesn't matter which platform. You can have like Podtopia, or you can have like any podcast app you want to get the podcast. The RSS feed will come through. Except I had up 20,000 some more listens per episode, and all of a sudden that dropped down. I lost 20,000 per episode, and it never came back, and there's no explanation for why. When I went into my own podcast app and I pulled up my own show, same exact time that I lost that 20,000, that was the last show that I could get. I had to delete my show from my podcast app and put my own show back on, and then I got all my new episodes since then. But 20,000 people don't know that. Why would you?
Wow.
So I just lost them. Some of them have found me and they've said, "Hey, I thought you disappeared."
Right.
No, I didn't. So because if you just listen to podcasts and you don't go online, you don't see my videos anywhere else, you don't know that I still exist. Right. Yeah. And if I'm shadow banned everywhere else anyway, you don't know that I'm still making content. So even RSS feeds can get screwed. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else, but it was pretty fucked up.
Libsyn's constantly. So I put this thing, I would catch Libsyn trimming off like 20, 30, 50 listens. Let's say the monthly listens, I'm just going to throw a number out. Let's say it's 150,000. I would go there and say 150,000 for the month. Then I would refresh and it would say 100,000 listens.
Yeah.
Just knocking off 50,000.
I just saw that on mine too. Same thing.
And you're like, what the fuck? Well, Adam Curry, who's the podfather, said it's not Libsyn. He says it's Apple, which I tried to ask him, are you sure it's Apple, not Libsyn? Because Libsyn has been caught fucking with their numbers, adding too many. Why wouldn't they go the other way? So, I'm doing well on Libsyn, but it just sucks, man, because it fucks with our heads, dude.
You're playing damage control on a regular basis instead of focusing on creating. And if you are doing research, it takes time and space. And I've said many times that they tailor their torture to the person, and that in journalism school, they tell you to use big numbers in order to dazzle people, like 101 ways to get a man. So it's therefore the opposite, that a low count is fucking with your head.
Demoralizing.
Well, it's also fucking with the people who come look at you and they're like, "Oh, who's this person?" And then they see, "Oh, you only have 100 subscribers on YouTube." And you're like, "Yeah, but I had multi-thousand numbers on YouTube that got deleted 5 times." This is like,
it's all about a level playing field. And this is the problem. I write about this all the time, is that we're not allowed to compete with the bigger names. The mainstream media, almost any of us, I haven't seen too many shows that couldn't do better than what you see on CNN or Fox or any of these places. But we're not allowed to. We're hampered. You talk about Apple. One of my books, Masking the Truth, my COVID book, they're charging $999 for it there. That's one of the ways they screw me over. Amazon disappeared the Kindle version of the book. They just got rid of it. No reason. Barnes & Noble disappeared both the paperback and the Kindle.
Right.
So they play those games all the time. And that's because they're afraid of big audiences, and they're afraid of people competing. They can't stand the competition.
100%.
Exactly.
Which
it's
is
fucking evil, by the way. It really is. Narrative management, it's really fucking evil. And you can see the way they're trying to just capture the narrative and keep it going. I mean, it is mind-blowing right now.
Because it's impacting our ways to make money.
Yeah, that's why they do it.
And
it's like, so within the comedy crew, within the comedy community, people think nobody. I've had people comment, Sam Tripoli has fans. I sell a ton of tickets. I mean, dude, this is how I love when people are like, "Oh, you're not shadow banned, Sam. Just you're not popular." I go, I used to have a YouTube channel. My channel that I have right now, I had to pull off all the real conspiracy shit. A fan has to upload my videos to YouTube. I can't upload them because they'll ding me to all hell. Yep. I used to get 150, 200, 300,000 views on my videos. I can't get more than 20,000 if I'm lucky on YouTube. If I have to have Tim Dillon on, who I love with all my heart, I got 50,000 views with Tim Dillon on. It would be passive. If I had Tim Dillon on, I get 500,000, a million views. I can't even get that anymore. And again, I uploaded something. Someone took the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show and put men without hats safety dance on top of it. Wow. And it synced up. I couldn't even caption it. It wouldn't even let me caption it. That's for no reason. They won't let me live stream. So yeah, they're fucking with us, man. And it does have real world consequences.
Well, here's the thing though, man. And this speaks to Sam's point about, Rockfin just onboarding a whole bunch of savages. Like, I'm Bernie Mac in this shit. I am. You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm not. I am. And I can go build houses tomorrow. I don't want to. I would rather do this. I love doing this. I feel like I've been called to do it, but I'm not fucking scared. So don't fuck with me. Just let me do what I want to do, and then we don't have any fucking problems. We don't, except for now we have a problem. So I'm at a point in my life where if I am being inadvertently messed with, there's going to be a disproportionate response because I don't want to be fucked with.
Well, I'm sure they bank on that too, because they bank on the looshing of the energy that is expounded in trying to fix your shit constantly. And you know what I'm saying?
Of course, none of us want to be messed with or anything, but we are being messed with. And this is not about being scared of them or anything. They control the platforms. And this is even these smaller platforms. And I used to say they would never get the internet because they were going crazy because they wanted an FCC in there and they couldn't do it. But then I never saw what was going to happen with social media. And so many, and that includes many in the alt media, they cheered when Alex Jones was deplatformed because Alex Jones is defending he's all of that. Regardless, if you think about him, that was the first shot. And before that, YouTube was pretty much uncensored.
Well, they used Alex. You could argue that they used Alex Jones.
Well, yeah, it does. Yeah, a lot of people, and certainly the way he handled and everything, you could argue he was in on it and so forth. But it doesn't matter symbolically. Then they were able to go after all the shows I used to be on, SGT Report, Dustin Name, all these people that had close to 1 million subscribers at one point, all gone. Right. Because and they weren't all disinfo agents. So that's the problem, is that we sometimes cheer when a big name is taken down or something. No matter what he is, it doesn't matter what Alex Jones is. It's what he represents. He was the biggest name in the conspiracy.
I agree with you. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they used a big name as a front in order to go after people like us. I just want to say, during the Sandy Hook courtroom, if you know what a sidebar is, the whole fucking point of a sidebar is for it to be silent, for them to be the audience at home could listen to the sidebar is to me an obvious sign of how fake and gay it is.
Well, the whole court, but the problem was, it's just like the same thing with Trump. If you have to look at what kind of precedents are being set. What happened in Alex Jones's trials, what happened in Trump's trials, doesn't matter what you think of either one of them or whether they're part of it and they're, it's all scripted. They're setting precedents. So now that Alex Jones has done that, they can go after anybody for questioning anything. I said at the time, you're cheering the Sandy Hook nonsense on because you think somehow that's, sacrosanct. But what is any 9/11 truth, or the 9/11 families could go after them the exact same way. You're harassing us by saying that the buildings were empty or there were holograms or whatever. They could easily do that, and people don't understand that. And same thing with Trump. I mean, if you were all of us men anyhow, I mean, some woman can come out of the woodwork from 30 years before and say, well, you assaulted me in a
Right.
department store. I don't remember the year it happened.
Right.
And the precedent has been set. Same thing with him exaggerating his assets, nonsense like that. So the Stormy Daniels thing, all those things are terrible precedents to set, no, regardless what you think of him. And I think that but we don't stick together in the alt mean, and that's part of the problem. There's so much bickering, and I go back a long way to the JFK Research Committee. It's always been that way, and everybody thinks everybody else is a disinfo agent, and we need to come together in a bit of a unifying force and saying we're all challenging the status quo in different ways. And that's a good thing.
To that point, when I had Jeff Berwick on my channel on Truth Lives Here on Rumble, when he posted the episode, then I get a 3 to 4 ratio increase in views. And I just want to also say that I finally printed my book. It's like
Yay!
Nice.
But I want to say that I learned at Anarchapulco from a censored comedian, Robo in San Diego, that he told me that there was a book on DuPont, and that basically this is a print. So I was able to print 120 copies, but given this is a third publisher, another thing that they do, let's say in the music industry, is that they'll release a single from a controversial album, but then they won't release the entire album. So this limited edition, which I have 10 more, is I know in the future is going to be a lot if someone finds it on Biblio or Abe, because real books that are rare are like in the thousands.
Yeah.
Hi, Dave.
So let's before we get we
Hey,
can
Mary, how you doing?
What's up, Nature Boy?
What's up?
First of all, you guys might have noticed the last couple episodes. There's this beautiful painting behind me. Well,
yes.
we happen to have the artist on the show, Alex. He met Sam and I and Eddie and everybody in Broadbrook Opera House in Connecticut. Invited him to join us today. He's a huge fan of our content and the show, as you can tell. And so I'd love to get his input on this censorship as a content consumer. Do you find it frustrating? Which platforms do you use? Are you seeing these issues with like some of your favorite shows in regards to like them not? I know on like Spotify, sometimes people are like, "Hey, I can't find your show" or whatever. Are you seeing some of those issues?
Oh, 100%. I go to try. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan of everybody on here. But yeah, it's very hard to find the shows very often. Usually I'm just going to Apple Podcasts for some of, Sam's show and Charlie and Mike and with OBDM. But I mean, I'm always getting the updates, taken down, and I'm not getting notified when shows are getting updated. When things go live, I don't find out about them. So it's very, very frustrating as a consumer. And it's really hard to, pass on recommendations as well, not full well knowing that if people that I'm reaching out to are getting the same kind of content immediately as well. So, yeah, it's definitely affecting, things. And I think it has some kind of downstream effects when I go to post my original artwork as well. Just with that censorship apparatus, I feel some of those downstream effects with not ranking, with numbers being poor, despite, the engagement levels that I have with the other insights and the people that are reaching out and finding my pages with advertisements. There's a lot of fuckery afoot, but I feel like the more this eco space continues to metastasize and grow, you're going to see, I feel like, a lot more of those tentacles starting to reach down for lower level content creators like myself in different avenues. So I definitely experience that a lot.
Yeah, that's why I'm a big fan of the RSS feed. What does it stand for? Like simple, I forget what it stands for. But it's
I had a video of Gay Hitler on my Instagram. It was Gay Hitler, and he talked about how he wasn't political anymore. He just wanted fat dicks, and it got maybe let's say 8,000 views. Well, my podcast Instagram, for some reason, and this gets into this thing where I think if you're an older school content creator, they still hate you. Like new people can come into the space and they don't get the same thing. But then the tinfoil hat, Instagram took that video,
new people
posted it.
have way more censorship because they haven't already broken through.
Well, let me just finish this quick thing and then I'll address
Yeah.
that. So my podcast Instagram took the gay Hitler video, posted it, and it got 1 million views. It got 1 million views. I don't know why my podcast Instagram gets more love than me. I don't know why, but it is. In terms of that, I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like some of the new people, they won't let them explode. But then there's these new people that come in and they're doing Epstein, and they're getting 500,000 views. It's like it's weird. I don't know why some people can thrive and some people can't. I don't believe everybody is controlled op. I don't know what the answer is.
They're not controlled ops, Sam. They're controlled opportunists. We had this talk. We did on your show last year. It's talking about Epstein without talking about the Mossad. It's talking about government without talking about how government is controlled. It's your phrase, my favorite phrase in podcast history that you came up with, my friend, safe, dangerous. That's what it is. And I am eternally grateful to you for coining that, man.
Yes,
I am.
yes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm great.
Can I interject here for a second from the standpoint of a relatively new content creator and censorship and shadow banning and stuff like that? I've had to work for every one of my followers. On Twitter, if I put out just a random post, I'll get 2 or 3 responses, likes, maybe a comment. What I have to do every week to get some reach is I have a spreadsheet of all of my followers. And what I do is I can only post 50 followers at a time, where it says, bad boy, you've been a bad boy, cut it down. So I have to put out God knows how many of them. And that's the only way that I can get reach. By doing that, then I can reach out to my audience and I get fairly good response, but I'm having to direct tag them. If I was just to put up a tag, hey, the third rail's live tonight. We have Sam Tripoli and Ricky Varandas. Come on in. I mean, maybe 100. I mean, if I got 100 would be gold from something like that.
You would get a lot.
I usually on Twitter, I send direct messages, like instead of doing tags, because tags are limited, but you can keep sending messages to people.
Now, I want to ask.
DMs tend to work better.
Yeah, it does tend to work better.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. Thank you, Courtney. That's going to save me a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It takes me a lot of time. Yeah.
Sam has
I understand when you say like every one of those followers is that's definitely been my experience. Like organic growth is very, very slow, especially for in the new.
Yes.
Especially when you take people away from Twitter. Like I reached 25.9 and now they're throttling me. And I've caught them removing them.
Yeah.
I've hit
happens all the time. Yeah.
I've hit a couple points in Twitter where I'll be stuck there. I'll go like 3 or 4 over, then I'll go 4 or 5 under, and it stays like that for a long time. Then I'll break a certain number, then it starts going up normally, and then I'll hit another plateau, and it'll still playing that same old dance, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I
was gonna ask Sam, because I think this would be a good question for all of us, because I think there's a technique to his madness. You have a lot of different Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts. What's the origin story on why you've basically keep starting new ones, and then like have you had some success? Like what's your technique in trying to utilize all those accounts? Sam, you're muted.
I think the answer is that I've been so shadow banned. Like the tinfoil Instagram came from the fact that my Instagram was taken away. I had to pay $3,000 to get back Sam Tripoli. So that's it. So I like to have each brand have its own Twitter, its own Instagram, its own everything like that, to harness the fans who love that. Each of my podcasts are meant to have their own vibe and have their own thing, so they will have their own fans. Obviously, there's going to be a lot overlapping, but the whole point is like I put my co-host XG, who's like just turned 30, so he understands social media way better. I put him in control of it, and for some reason he does well. He operates smart, dude. I always say, like, so I hired a guy to do my stand-up right now. I told him, work smart, like beep the words that need to get beeped. You know, don't put out anything that you know is going to piss them off. Play the game to the best of your ability, because I'm over here talking a lot of shit, getting shadow banned. I can get that out of the way. But you know, these brands by themselves, you know, and again, it can't be on my phone, right? I can't have the Instagrams on my phone because they can tell where the IP address is and all that stuff. So I have to have somebody else do it, and I have to have them play the game so that I can get some people to see me. And that's just the only way I can do it. It just sucks, man. I mean, Instagram sucks. Instagram. You know, when I watch Mike's, I have a new shirt said "fuck Zuck," because I just watch him go on Rogan's show talking about, oh, I'm not gonna do that censorship anymore. It's worse than ever. It's worse than ever, man. And like real quick, just let me wrap it up here. As a comedian, the Zuckerberg's thumb on the competitive balance of comedy is insanity. Like what thrives on Instagram is so. We're in the age of stupid right now in terms of comedy. Yeah. Everyone can try, but
I'll just tell you that with Instagram, like most of my content, I mean, I started my Instagram account when I tried out for American Ninja Warrior. So, I mean, it was not political at all. But of course, they have your IP address, as you said, so they know exactly who you are. And I literally watch the numbers, like, and the math doesn't even add up. So the same number follow me as unfollow me every single day, except it always seems to be at a net loss, even though the math is tied, but somehow it's always net loss. Yeah. And I almost stopped completely, like putting anything up on my Instagram because I was just so frustrated with it.
That's what they want you to do.
I know. And somebody reached out to me and told me that I'm going to get like teary-eyed. It was really, really like sweet, but they told me that like my page helped them get through and beat cancer, and to please not stop posting. Yeah.
You
know,
I believe that.
The thing is,
1000%. And you know, you never know how many people you're going to touch if you just believe in the work you do and you continue to do it, and whoever picks it up. I mean, when I did your event, real quick sidetrack, I said, man, if 5 people come up to me that know me, that's going to be awesome. Literally 12 people came up to see me. People drove a couple hundred miles to give me a few bucks to keep going. So you never know who's watching. But really quickly to the point, because I think it's a good question to pose, especially while Don Jeffries is here. And I know people have thought about it before. Isn't the antidote to all this suppression, censorship, is to have these platforms to be open source, where everybody can see the algorithms, everybody can see how information, it should all be disclosed, open for everybody? I mean, shouldn't we be coming up with a bill and trying to get it into Thomas Massey's face or something and force it down his throat? Because we've gotten so far away from that conversation to leveling the playing field. And it really is, I'm going to say it again with the word fucking. It's fucking sinister. It's evil what they're doing. They're controlling the narrative, right? They're stopping us from opening up people's eyes to what could really be going on behind them, right? You know, what they don't see every day. And that's important to them because they keep their whole scam going. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
can I give an example?
But wait a second. Shouldn't we be coming up with a bill to get to something?
Yeah, I think we have to, and I think we should. Yeah, I mean, but I think we should actually start locally. I mean, within each state. And then I think that will tread up.
Yeah, it would definitely maybe pop lawsuits. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt you, Miriam. I didn't mean to step on you.
It's okay. No, I was interrupting you. I just wanted to give an example of how you can be a spark on the way back from the airport. For me, going to the airport is like visiting the belly of the beast of the fucking Matrix. And so especially on the back, I was grateful to go to Houston and have people from the event there. And so you had to clear customs in Houston. So there was a woman who follows my work and was happy to be with me, and I was happy she was there as well. So when we went to the radiation machine, I always asked for the female pat down. And then I told her, and she didn't know. So then it sparks her to say, I want the female pat down. It turned out that there wasn't any females to pat us down. And it was nearing the trip. She was starting to panic, and she went through the radiation machine. I'm freezing and I feel my system going down. And then luckily, finally, a woman who was there said, like, this is basically ridiculous. Now, then we're at the customs. For whatever reason, the matrix is not like my frequency. I'm in the line, and it's an elderly look, I think it was Japanese or Hawaiian man, and he just shot me a look. And by the way, I wear a floppy hat, which the matrix seems to soften up when you wear a floppy hat. So I was like, this guy's, it's not going to go well for me. Go to the left. And then he goes, are you part of the global network? And he's like, go back in the line. And she went in. There was now the cameras, they don't even ask you. They're just scanning your biometrics without even alerting you. So she did it. And then when I went up, I tried to soften the blow and say, sorry, I was a little intimidated by you. And he kind of like growled at me. And then he goes, look in front of the camera. And I said, I opt out. And he goes, you know what? Go to another line. So I'm just saying this is an example of where you can inspire someone else to take their rights, and they don't want that, because next you know, a whole crowd is sparked up.
Absolutely.
So let's I also wanted to talk to you guys about all the stuff that's been going on with the Trump administration, and are you guys, some of you guys are optimistic, some of you guys are pessimistic. I think this is typically a fiery little discussion about this topic, but has anybody's feelings changed? Are you guys
big time? Yeah.
I, for one, welcome our AI overlords and our broligarchs. I can't wait until all of the people who are building our digital prison are fully in charge of the government. Hooray!
Steve represents the exact thing I talk about all the time, is that, as Ricky and I talked about this earlier today, my feelings have changed. I'm the one that came up with the Trumpenstein project, and I've written a lot about Trumpenstein Trump being an actor. I don't know what the hell is going on in this, but I've been involved in this since the mid-'70s when I was a teenager working for Mark Lane's Citizens Committee of Inquiry. I never thought I would see what's going on now. We're seeing government transparency and disclosure that we all wanted forever. We're seeing a woman in the Congress saying that there was more than one shooter in the JFK assassination. He's going to investigate that. They're just talking about 9/11. You have RFK Jr. I wrote an article for American Free Press about that Make America Healthy Again executive order. I could have written it. I mean, he's got everything in there: electromagnetic radiation. Nothing is left out. It's as radical a document as you're ever going to see. And whatever that guy is, if he does anything at all to open this stuff, this is revolutionary. And I'm aware what Steve is talking about. This is what I'm talking about the community that we have. As my son likes to say, we don't know how to accept wins. These are huge wins right now. We're getting disclosure, and yes, I know Elon Musk is weird. He was wearing an upside down cross and dressed as Baphomet. He's a bizarre character. And I don't know what his motivation is. I know that Trump has suddenly gone from doing nothing to like a raging bull, and there's something new every day. I don't understand that. But whatever the things that are happening, he's talking about abolishing the IRS. He's talking about giving $5,000 refunds to everybody.
Yeah, we also have 2,000-pound bombs going to Israel now that they don't even have the planes to fly and drop them. Right? Pegasus now is running wild. The FBI can use it again as Donald Trump is just pissing all over your Fourth Amendment rights. 40,000 Palestinians expelled out of the West Bank now, which was the $100 million given to him by Miriam Adelson, right? I mean, no way. I mean, all these other things that, this whole USAID, NED thing, let me tell you something. They're just the PR firms for the regime change industrial complex. They don't need them anymore. So they can just find other ways, and they're going to reappropriate that money just back into the new military. which is, you know, the technocrats just taking over everybody with a QR code.
Well,
So
that's again, people think that. Yeah,
it's
could
designed
happen.
to give you these what you think emotional wins. I mean, really,
Yeah.
you really think that
There's a huge difference between emotional wins. No, I actually think this is like patently false, and I think it's a huge problem. So I know I have like ad nauseum talked about the technocratic takeover and infiltration. I totally get all of that, and it is a huge problem that people need to be aware of. However, this idea that there is no wind is a complete demoralization op. And people cannot, there is no thriving in a demoralized society. What is the first step of a color revolution? It is demoralization. And that is exactly what they want. They want everybody completely black-pilled, completely demoralized, thinking that there is no hope. And that's actually just not true. There are things that are being done that are positive. Yes, they may be being done as a decoy or as a ploy or as a conduit. I think all of that is actually true. However, they're still being done and they're still positive thing. And I think what people need to do right now is take advantage of whatever opportunities are being presented and especially utilize them at the local level, extrapolate from whatever wins they perceive. This isn't about emotional win. This is about how people can take agency, how people can take action, and people need to capitalize on those things. And then they also need to be aware of the technocratic takeover. I think.
Yeah, I don't want to be misrepresented. I think that's
Ladies and
misrepresenting
gentlemen,
what I'm
T-Snot,
saying. What I'm saying is that the goods don't outweigh the bads by far, not even close. Right,
Well,
especially what's going on in
love
Israel.
of God, chime in. You've been
that may be
you've
true,
had
but
that look
what
on
I'm
your
hearing
face
from
for
so
hours.
many people, that may be true that the goods don't outweigh the bad, and you know, time will tell. However, and I'm more inclined to agree with you, quite honestly. However, I think it's really important that people don't gloss over whatever opportunities are being presented, because that is where free will and personal agency come into play. You can't have people be personal agency, take advantage of personal agency and exercise personal sovereignty and be disruptors when they're completely demoralized. It's just not possible. Or when they have a noose around the neck, when they're busy in survival mode. So I think it's really important that people recognize whatever might be a win for them and especially utilize those potential wins locally. I think that is so incredibly important right now, because this idea that humans have no agency and that we're just all doomed, that's exactly what they want. Like you said with my Instagram.
Nobody is saying that. Holy fuck. No one is saying that. No one. No one is saying we're all doomed.
Okay. I'm just saying, you said like the things I heard were the things that I heard were
frustrates me.
Let me just
All I did was
clarify.
lay out facts, by the way, Courtney. I didn't tell anybody how to feel about it. I just pushed back and I
You
laid out
said the
facts.
emotional wins, right? Emotional wins was your word.
Yes.
Right? That's exactly. So, and I'm saying that that's a little bit misleading for people.
Bullshit.
It's
Paper straws
misleading.
are canceled.
Too many people are
thanks to
speaking
Trump.
right now.
There's a win. Paper straws are canceled.
I think we can continue it on one of our shows, Courtney, for sure. I'm gonna reel back for a second.
But if you take Trump and Musk out of this, if this was a President Ron Paul, we would expect something like Doge. And in fact, he's advising Doge. So I think the personnel, this can't be real. It's Musk and all the AI stuff. I understand the potential bads. Absolutely, we have to be aware, but that doesn't mean we suddenly say, well, no, this is not, government disclosure isn't good, especially if they continue auditing. If they audit the Pentagon, if they audit the CIA, the Federal Reserve, the FBI, HHS.
What do you
I invite
think
you
the
on my.
Great
I just. I
Reset
don't want to
is?
interrupt and I want to say some things. I'm just saying that it seems like it's a plan that's being played out, right? That these things are supposed to happen, but we're still moving
And I
along
don't
to the fact
disagree with
that they're
any-
getting to where we're supposed to be.
And
right?
I don't
And that
disagree with
needs
any
to
of
be
that. In fact,
acknowledged more than anything. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, and I don't disagree with that. In fact, I have pointed that out numerous times on my show. So I actually agree with you. The part that I want to emphasize is that I think it's really important for people not to think that there's no hope. And because
I never
first of all,
said
that's
that,
not
though.
true.
Literally,
I
no one
know,
thinks that.
but I'm not saying you said it. I'm saying that's the impression that people get when they hear that any win is just an emotional win.
Yeah, Courtney,
That's
I
a
hear that all the
fucking
time.
talking point, though, Courtney. Tease, for the love of God, dude, jump in.
No, but I think it's right, because if we don't have any hope, then what's the point of us even discuss? Why do we have podcasts?
I never said
Why are
we shouldn't have any
what's the
hope.
point?
I said what you were alluding to is just being.
Pasta, I'm not
keeping your
saying
eye
you
on the
said
prize.
that. I'm just Pasta, I'm not saying you said that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that that's the connotation when you say that
let
it's
Tease
taken
talk. I'm
emotionally and
sorry.
that it's
Let's
all.
let Tease talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna let Tease talk, but guys, please, if you disagree with somebody, please be respectful about it. Like, this is exactly the problem that the world has, is that people can't have logical discussions without getting emotional. Like, I get it. Like, you might disagree with somebody on the panel, but we're here to share ideas, challenge ideas, absolutely. But
let's chant an om.
Okay, and let people finish their thought, and then you can interject. Nobody here it should be getting personal or getting mad or getting whatever. Like, people are going to disagree. That's why we're here. I have people on all the time that I disagree with, and I want to hear their I want to understand their thought process, their perspective, how they got there, and because I'm not naive to think that I could be wrong. So it's like we should be exploring these things, okay? Because if we can't, we turn into the people that we all argued with in our own personal lives, that you say something that logically makes sense, and then they have an emotional response, and they stop listening, and they completely ignore the fact or information that you're giving them because emotionally they feel like you're wrong. So let's not do that, guys, please. Like, this is a place that I want it to be open, and people to feel comfortable sharing their ideas if they happen to disagree with people on the panel. But if we attack them, or we get mad every time somebody disagrees with us, or they say something we disagree with, then people aren't going to feel comfortable. Then people aren't going to want to, speak up if they disagree with somebody, because they feel like somebody's going to jump down their throat or attack them. So please, let's be respectful. Tease, please continue.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of the same way in which they go about scraping our every interaction with the digital apparatus to determine who we are and then throw hurdles in front of us, they do the same thing in a trial balloon refinement of understanding what our hopes and dreams are. Simple example of that a great many people would point to as a win, and in many respects it is the freeing of Ross Ulbricht. We can see that as something where it's like, we got a man out of jail who shouldn't have been there. He was railroaded. He was set up. They did parallel construction in order to frame him. It was just on every level of crime what happened. And then he gets out. And that's to, in essence, co-opt the libertarian support and give them the feeling that Trump's their man. In one sense, it very much is a win, but it gives us the illusion that our rulers are winners, and they're not. They are perpetual losers. And the longer we stay in a slave state apparatus, the more in which it continues to constrict around us, becoming a noose that we eventually can't escape. So the way in which you're made to feel in any number of different capacities that we're making progress with disclosure are limited hangouts. You can look at the JFK disclosure, the 9/11 stuff, which will likely point to Saudis, which is just a tip of the iceberg kind of thing. Yes, it is headway, but it's headway so far down the line of what should have been broken already that it's not adequate. It's not good enough. It's nowhere near where we're supposed to be or what we're supposed to champion. It makes us look like we're grasping at straws rather than cutting through the noose and saying we're not going to let anybody be drawn into it again. So I disagree fundamentally with the premise that it's a black-pilled notion to see things the way that they are. This is a careful, calibrative, algorithmic refinement of determining what we perceive as accomplishment when it isn't.
I mean, again, you speak for a lot of people, and I realize I'm in the minority. I'm not a Trump fan, but again, I just look at these are terrible things. And I just wrote a recent Substack about the sky is always falling. And the sky is always falling, not only in the establishment world with constant fear porn, but in the alt media as well. We're going to begin the FEMA camps. How many times have World War III is right around the corner? I mean, we're always hearing these things. Now it's everything about AI. We're going to be chipped. Neuralink, Stargate, all this stuff. And maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But if history is any, teacher here, I've heard these things for decades, that these horrible things are going to happen. They never do. Meanwhile, we're consistently on a downward path, and we're losing civil liberties. And while we're being distracted by all this stuff, we have people in North Carolina living in tents, and people aren't able to get the help they want. And we're starting to see why with the disclosures, because the money isn't going there. It's lining people's pockets. I just want to concentrate on that stuff. Yeah, that stuff may happen, but the one people like me that are talking about this, I'm alert enough to not be distracted by the magicians, and I'd be able to see the AI coming around the corner. And obviously, they try to introduce digitalized currency. I don't think anybody in the alt media should support that, and I think there would be a huge, obviously opposition to that. So I think we worry about that when they try to do it. But right now, I don't know why they're doing it. But if they send you a $5,000 check, if that actually happens, nobody's going to turn that down. So that'll be more money than I've gotten from my government in my entire life.
Wait, so hang on, Don. The solution to smaller government and government shrinking is to have government pay people out and expand its size and expand its scope and absorb USAID. They absorbed USAID.
He didn't say that.
USAID didn't go
Nobody
away.
said it all.
USAID didn't go away. USAID got absorbed into the State Department.
Yes, it did, but what they're talking about is giving a dividend back, the old peace dividend that we heard about that we never got. And just the savings they're supposedly getting, and it's really a drop in the bucket. That's not, I mean, they're talking, it looks like, dramatically, making government much smaller. Now, we'll see if that happens. I don't know. But it certainly looks that way. I don't think they're going to expand government. And, again, I don't like what Trump is doing foreign policy wise, but no, they all do the same thing. It's a bipartisan foreign policy.
That's some black-pilled shit, Don. That's the black pill. That is. I don't like what they're doing, but they're going to do it anyway. So let me throw my hands up and be like, okay, well, they're just going to do that.
Well, on that particular
that's
issue,
the opposite of what he's saying.
On Zionism, I think we have to. They're all Zionists. We saw what happened to there are two members of Congress that don't take AIPAC money. One was Thomas Massey, and after he gave his interview with Tucker talking about that, his wife died very mysteriously. Right after that. Still don't know how. And then you have Matt Gaetz, who was going to be Attorney General, and they came up with this nonsense about imaginary girl and all. I wrote a story about that and everything. It's all a psyop because they were trying to extort money from his father. So yeah, it doesn't pay. And I know RFK Jr. has Rabbi Shmuley following him around. I understand that. I don't like it. But again, domestically speaking, this would be an improvement. What is happening right now looks like, and maybe they'll pull the rug out from under it and they'll just stop doing it, or they'll start World War III. I don't know. I'm just looking at
let me just say this respectfully. I think that is the wrong attitude to have, though, when we talk about a black pill, to say, they're all Zionists, so they're going to continue to be Zionists, so it's okay. That's the part where I say it's not okay, especially to what's going on. And when it comes to USAID, when it comes to the NED, all I'm saying is they give us those $5,000 checks, right? That money has blood on its hands. And it's not as if they're changing the behavior. It's not as if, and trust me, I go to Latin America a lot. In Bolivia this year, they're not concerned about USAID or NED being shut down because it was Marco Rubio last time working the phone against Evo Morales. So what I'm saying is that they understand, and we should understand and recognize that even though they closed down, the behavior and the tactics of empire has not changed. Regime change is still on the menu. And in fact, they've made it just a little bit more overt because they can justify it nowadays because we accept the fact of these things that they happen, that they're all Zionists when we should be pushing back.
I think you're right about that. And I certainly don't, I write about this all the time. I'm not, conceding anything to it, but I have no power. But I'm just recognizing that the power of AIPAC and the power of Israel in this country is what it is. I mean, it's a reality. So if you can get any inroads domestically, and then maybe, if we can improve things there, maybe it's a domino effect. And you could go out to these other things as well.
Don, I love you, and I appreciate that we can get in the phone booth and headbutt a little bit and still hang out. You are one of my favorite people, and I respect the hell out of you. I really do.
Thanks. Okay.
May I share?
I appreciate that.
May I share that? I don't know if Courtney knows who Cyrus Parsa is, but he wrote a book called The Great Reset: How Big Tech Elites and the World's People Can Be Enslaved by China, CCP, or AI, and he was found dead with a bullet in his head. Do you know who that is, Courtney?
I don't know.
So no one on the panel knows who Cyrus is?
No.
Okay. I do. I know Cyrus.
I'm interviewing Carrie Cassidy for my show Friday.
Oh, dang.
Carrie was Carrie used to have a show with my really good friend who actually just passed away, unfortunately, Sean David Morton. They used to do a show together for years, like long before I knew anything.
On Project Camelot?
Yeah, it wasn't Project Camelot. It was I think it was actually before she did that, but they had a show together. But yeah, he was known as America's Prophet, and the SEC came after him, and he because he was sued by the United States of America, and so he said, I would like to see the United States of America. And face them, and of course, they didn't think that was all that amusing. And he said, "Well, I'm supposed to be able to face my accuser in court. So where is the United States of America?" And he, proved that essentially the corporation is suing him. They threw him in jail for 10 years, and I think they gave him, the incurable terminal illness. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carrie interviewed Cyrus. I know that Zach was interacting with him until he blocked him. Steve, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Cyrus.
I've seen and read and tried to absorb all of the work that I've been exposed to, and I think that he's coming from a genuine place and a place of legitimate research, and I think that people should get exposed to it. I do.
Yeah, well, he's dead now.
Yeah.
From Amazon, the book, it says, this book is meant to be a neutral analysis and depiction of threats to world leaders, big tech elites, Silicon Valley, conservatives, liberals, WEF, nation states, the intelligence community, and the common person. This includes religious people and atheists. It is not against WEF, Silicon Valley, right or left. Rather, I attempt to write on everyone's behalf. I will describe the Great Reset, Fourth Industrial Revolution, more in detail from the macro perspective with short and concise summary paragraphs of each major global component as it relates to AI, smart cities, and the geopolitical challenges that exist.
No, I just did a couple of shows about the Laurel Canyon 2.0 operation, and with Wheezy and with Kristen Bitterling on Iconic, and the failure of independent media to recognize the operation that we're in the middle of, all of us, every day that we do this, the failure of independent media to go ahead and be like, hey, maybe I'm part of the problem, is a huge part of the problem. And Cyrus is one of the people that was talking about that early on, very early on.
In what capacity?
In that we don't, the landscape has changed.
No, in what capacity was he saying that?
Cyrus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to discuss the shift from mainstream media to the sort of technocratic nonsense that we live in.
People can go to
and it was
AIorganization.com, basically artificial intelligence dangers to humanity. And he wrote an opinion piece, COVID conspiracies against big tech, Bill Gates, Sundar Pichai, Larry Page, Sergey.
He was murked before he could really put his finger on the pulse of the environment that we live in right now. So a lot of it is going to be more framework than finish work.
So I want just one more thing, that Eric Frost, the co-director of Nation's first interdisciplinary Homeland Security program, on August 15, 2019, wrote, Cyrus, I don't think there's anyone in the world who researched 1,000 AI companies and concluded an analysis that the interconnection between China and Western tech companies with the combination of humanities, facial recognition, biometrics, drones, robotics, 5G, bioengineering, AGI, and a digital quantum AI brain threatens to socially engineer, enslave, or possibly eradicate most of the world's citizenry via China and AI and artificial superintelligence. Your book is incredible. and your many discoveries are amazing.
And now let's look at all of the Trump administration and all of the people that were sitting in the front row of the inauguration. And it's all of the people that are building out that infrastructure in the United States.
Nobody disagrees. I don't think anybody on this show disagrees with that. That's we know who he's surrounded by, and we know that they're building out not even the fourth industrial revolution. They're already saying we're in the fifth industrial revolution. I did a show laying that out. They talk about the sixth and seventh. They've already actually laid out what the sixth and seventh industrial revolutions are. I think that Elon was very instrumental in concluding the fourth industrial revolution. Every single one of his companies is dedicated to doing that. And they're saying we're already in the fifth. And I think that that's actually very accurate, that we are in the fifth industrial revolution. I don't disagree with what you're saying in terms of a lot of these plans being a vehicle for the technocratic takeover. I think that's very accurate. I just think that even when plans may not have the intention that you would like to see, that you still take advantage of opportunities when they're presented. And I think it's really important for people to recognize that there are opportunities that are being presented, and people should take advantage of it. And I think particularly at the local level.
Courtney, nobody is arguing that, and
I think is great.
If you bothered to watch,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, if you bothered to watch AM Wake Up, we talk about multiple solutions and local level and local government and all of these.
Great.
Like that happens every single day. It does.
Awesome.
Every day.
It's great.
Yeah, Donald's been around for a long time. He's been researching. I mean, he was friends with Mark Lane. This guy is OG in, this world. I think, he understands psyops. Adam Curry is another one I've had many conversations with. He understands psyops. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying that these other things can't happen. But I think what Donald was trying to say is like, accept a win when it's a win. When you think about when many of us started our shows, I mean, I started in 2013. Charlie started, soon after me. Other people like Corbett and others who've been doing this way longer than I have. Adam Curry, has obviously been doing this. The Podfather has been doing this way longer than I have. These guys look at the things that are mainstream topics right now. Mainstream topics. I mean, we can turn on CNN, we can turn on Fox News, you can turn on ABC, you can turn on whatever, and they're discussing it openly. To think that we would eventually be able to see a world where people are questioning vaccine science, where people are openly talking about multiple shooters of the JFK assassination, where people are openly talking about declassifying information related to 9/11, which means, I mean, you're openly saying that there's something there that we're being lied to about, COVID, all these things. Like, to think that we could predict a world where these things are openly discussed on mainstream media and not only discussed on our shows or with our friends that are like-minded. I mean, I'm not sure any of us would ever have predicted that. And so I think that alone is a bit of a win and something that we can all say that, hey, you know what? Like, are there a lot of issues? Are there things that we should be wary of? Absolutely. But let's not say that these things aren't good things just because we're worried about, all the other things. Like, you look at Kennedy, he was on the Corbett report. James Corbett had him on, and obviously we disagree with him for a lot of his foreign policy views, but domestically, I mean, the guy has done more for the vaccine movement than just about anybody. He put his whole career on the line because of it. People thought he was a kook. Instead of being a respected attorney and Kennedy, he was considered a kook and went on every show and pushed back every time he could on this topic, when vaccines at the time was literally the craziest conspiracy theory topic you could bring up. You brought it up, people automatically looked at you like you were a crazy person, and he helped mainstream that a bit. Now, not to say that he's perfect, just like anybody else might not be perfect, but the thing is, disagreeing with somebody is okay, and there might be people that we agree with on many topics, and because we disagree with them on another topic doesn't mean we completely diminish anything else they've done. And I don't know. I just don't like this idea of like, hey, yeah, this is good, but they're only doing this to screw us about, you know, eventually it's like, okay, well, can we wait till that happens, or where more evidence comes about that shows that that's the case?
You're a genuinely good person. You're a decent human being. In fact, you're probably one of the more decent human beings that I've ever had the privilege of sharing space with in my entire life. So you're going to see it that way. But the people who are running this shit are not decent human beings, Ricky. They're not. And so we're in the middle of the Great Reset. You have to burn down the old establishment in order to create the new one. Ricky, you're a phenomenal human being. And from everything that I can tell, you're a fantastic father. You're a good coach. Like you're everything that every man should aspire to be. You are. And I mean that sincerely. I really do. The people who are running this shit don't think like you.
Yeah, I had to study evil for a really long time to get how it works.
I will agree.
I did 100%.
Sorry. I had to study evil for a really long time to get how it works, and it uses your hope and your joy and your feeling as if you're making headway in order to keep you in a particular place. And that's one of those things where you can think of like the joy of giving birth and connecting with your child. And that's a wonderful thing that shouldn't be taken away from you unless you're cattle in a stall and it's a part of keeping you stalled. That's more of in the long form machinations of this Machiavellian manipulation of civilian populations. That's how this shit rolls. It is leaving us to be culled, and it's horrific at a certain point of understanding it. That doesn't mean we should be blackpilled. It does mean we should be organized. We shouldn't panic. We should realize that, hey, we can go out and talk to one another. We can connect with each other as people. We don't need saviors. We don't need rulers. We do need rules. And it helps when we're the ones who are, in a civil and conscientious manner, being the ones who set them or are in alignment with them, rather than expecting our would-be rulers to promote them or be arbiters of them.
Sounds like a man that just got back from Anarchapulco, tease.
First, I just want to thank Steve for
That's great.
Thanks, Steve, for those kind words. You made me blush, I must say. I'm not
Dude, you're a phenomenal human being, and look, truly, you're what all men should aspire to be. You are. I hold you in very high regard, my friend.
I just like to get a round of applause for the great Albert Bola, CEO of Pfizer. He's awesome. And he's great. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I really do. And you know, but the thing is, we all have, you know, we're on this show because we all have studied evil for a long time, and we know it exists. I mean, we've done my personal show, and we've done roundtables on this show about human trafficking, pedophilia, some of the darkest, just most evil things you could think of. So we understand that exists. But it's, to me, it's like, and maybe it's a bad metaphor, but it's like we understand that things like OKC, we know it didn't happen like the way they told us, right? So that's like assuming every terrorist attack or every bombing or whatever must be more than maybe a random person who did something stupid. Like, it's not to say that it can't be, but it's not that every bombing is the OKC bombing, right? It's just, to me, it's like it's okay to be skeptical, and I think it's healthy, and obviously it's probably healthier and makes more sense to be skeptical of the government and the powers that be, and you know, that they're guilty till proven innocent instead of innocent till proven guilty, because they've lied so many times. But I also don't see the argument against who can make the argument that cutting or exposing USAID, which has been at least exposed to many normies in the last couple of weeks, that's not good. The fact that whatever they uncover, you know, with the JFK, MLK, 9/11, COVID, all these things that they're supposed to investigate, just the fact that that's a public discussion.
Sean Hannity's producer hung up on me because I asked that question today. I was sitting in traffic on Friday, and because I'm white and over 40, I listen to right-wing talk radio. And so I called in on a whim and they were like, no, we can't, but we'll call you back Monday. So I recorded the whole thing, but I asked Sean specifically about this thing. And I said, hey, does it bother you at all that USAID hasn't been dismantled? It's just been absorbed into the State Department. And he filibustered me for the entire rest of the conversation. I couldn't get a word in. And then his producer cut me off because that's an uncomfortable question. Because what happened was USAID got absorbed into the State Department. So it expanded government. It expanded the scope and it expanded the reach of what the federal government does. It took it away from the NGO space and directly under the auspice of the State Department. And as soon as I asked that, it became so uncomfortable that I had to go. I'll put it out. Well, I can't put it out on Twitter because I don't pay Elon Musk for a blue check, but I'll put it out on all of my channels.
Well, I'd like to add that, in the end, it might take 60 plus years, but the truth will come out, and that it's really about raising our consciousness and that we each have our karma and dharma, and not everybody is on a path of divine truth to find out what the truth is. Personally, I don't want to live a disillusioned life where I'm like just living a fake and gay life. But there comes a price with that. And so overall, yeah, we should take our wins, and at the same time know that Agenda 2030 is very much in motion.
Let's wrap this bitch up, shall we? Let's start with my good friend Craig Pasta Jardula. How are you? I love you. Am I going to see you in Nashville?
Yeah, I'm definitely going. Like I said, I'm going to cook. So we're going to figure out the logistics and, probably hit up Texas Slim too as well.
I've never
Courtney,
met him.
if there's a organic potato farm around by there, let me know, because that's what I want to do. I want to get a bunch of potatoes. So we're going to have just hot baked potatoes and we can fill it with all
I would
types of
recommend
hook him up
maybe
with
some
that.
yams or Japanese potatoes.
Oh, sweet
just to avoid
potatoes,
the
yams.
lectins.
Yeah, I'm going sweet potato there, food Nazi. All right, my name is Craig Pasta Jardula. Thank you so much. I really do love coming on the show. And I agree with everything Steve said about Ricky. You are an amazing, beautiful person. Charlie, thank you to Sam, who's not here, left, and Mike for always putting it together and providing this platform. I think that, the lesson I learned in today's show is that we need to have more shows. Courtney, Miriam, I invite you guys to come back on. I'd like to get Nature Boy and Tease and anybody else who wants to keep doing this. I'm now doing the thing I'm doing that's really giving me some awesome energy is that at this time of demonetization and just trying to stay relevant and, losing the opportunity to go to work for RT with the sanctions literally was a kick in the gut. But I am doing the show on a Pacifica radio station on Wednesdays in WBAI, New York, until they throw me out, especially if they know I come on shows like this. It's an uber leftist, Democratic Party establishment channel, the Pacifica.
Wow.
But you know what? Look, they gave me the shot, and I do a call-in show every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. People just call in. It's got a huge audience, and it's FM signal, so check it on out. I'll be posting it up at YoPasta to my Twitter. We do the Truth Wire, which is the Convo Couch. We're trying to dance around, try to get our monetization back. We changed our marketing, that sort of thing. We do that on Mondays and Fridays. And thank you so much for having me on, guys. Please reach out. I love you all.
Thank you, Pasta. Dave, Nature Boy, great to see you.
Always love hanging out with you, Charlie. It's magical time, ain't it, man?
We had a fun time.
It's like going to a dead show. There's no way to fully describe unless you've been there, especially.
I highly recommend everybody go to Anarchapulco for just plan as a vacation and write it off your taxes.
And next year is going to be in PV, so it's going to be a lot easier to get there.
It's going to be great. Easier to get there, yeah.
Authentic Mexican experience.
You and I sat around listening to Max Egan tell stories of working on an ayahuasca ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Then at night, sitting watching him, David Avocado Wolf, Steve Faulkner, and that bass guy, slipping his brain.
Tim James also playing up there.
Tim James, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was rad, man. Like this makeshift podcast band, and I'm sitting next to you, and I'm going, I've had all of those dudes on Macroaggressions, all the guys up that are on stage.
I was
laughing so hard. I was like, I was like, damn, man, this is like watching my podcast in real life. All these people, and they were just having the best time jamming out.
Yep, magical.
So good to see you. Anyway, tell everybody where they can find you.
My podcast is the Third Rail Podcast, broadcast live Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Rumble. You can find it at the Third Rail Podcast channel, the AM Wake Up channel, or the TMP New Prisoners channels. The audio podcast is wherever audio podcasts are pimped out. So subscribe. RSS feed might be our last bastion of free speech. So everybody subscribe to everybody's RSS feeds. And my new LinkedIn, if you want more information, the link tree, not LinkedIn, that CIA thing, is the Third Rail Podcast. Also, I can be found on X at the Real Nature Boy. Not Ric Flair, but the Real Nature Boy. So, Ricky, thanks for letting me come on. I always feel honored, man. In fact, you're the reason that I'm sitting here. So, hats off.
Thanks for letting me smoke your weed.
What? Oh, you mean my Mexican tobacco?
Alex, thanks for the painting. I mean, sort of via Ricky.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm very honored. I was super nervous to come on, to be honest, because I'm such.
Oh, why, man? It's like listening to it, except you get.
I know. Well, I listen to Macro, I listen to OBDM, I listen to Ripple Effect and all of Sam's multitude of shows every week. So this is a super surreal, but I'm just super blessed to have voices like you guys and so many of other people on this call tonight to just kind of keep doing all the good work and the hard work and the brave work. So I'm still young in this game. I'm only 30 years old. So I really appreciate you guys doing all this amazing stuff and just keep it up. And so, yeah, if anybody's interested, I do work as a delegate with the Libertarian Party here in Connecticut. If anybody's close by or is visiting, I have a ton of shows running through the calendar year. I do a lot of murals across the country, so I'm pretty proactive. But my Instagram, I dropped in the chat. It's AB Raniello, and I'll continue to keep watching you guys. And thanks so much.
Come out to the live events, man, with your stuff.
Well, I've been waiting for a Day Zero hangout because I saw Lindsay on the call, and I'm a huge fan of that show too.
Yeah.
So I just got to get Corey settled down in Fort Collins.
Well, we had 3/4 of it at Pueblo at the
beautiful
at the Blowback Gallery. So
I'll be getting out there soon for sure.
So most definitely come out and support these live events. Speaking of supporting live events, Steve Poikinen, one last time, Third Eye Carnival.
Third Eye Carnival, Nashville. Go get your tickets at anartistcollective.com, ANARTIST collective.com. And I grew up in the Midwest in the 80s. I've never been friends with people I haven't punched. I love everyone. All you guys.
Love you too, Steve.
You're all my fucking favorite people. You really are. It doesn't have anything to do, I get rowdy. All right. I'm gonna stay rowdy. I am. But come to the live events, gather together in meet space, understand that you're not alone. There are people who think like you, and we can all shift the needle together. We can. I believe we can do that. So please come out and do that. And if you're inclined, check out the show, amwakeupshow.com. I remain very, very humble and very, very grateful for getting an invite to the best ensemble podcast in the multiverse. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Miriam, great to see you again at the thing. You didn't get sprayed this time coming back, did you? You're unmuted. Yeah.
No, I did not get sprayed, and I'm very grateful. I had a really awesome time, and I want to just plug my print of my book, Operation George Floyd, which is really a manual on how these psyops are multi-layered, and I would argue it's the most information on a psychological operation out there on the planet, and is a dangerous book. So I have 10 copies left on MiriamHinane.com. And my show is Truth Lives Here on Rumble, Fridays at 3 Eastern live. And I invite people to follow me on miriamhinane.substack.com, where they also take away followers and fuck with you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. And it's awesome.
Love that. Courtney, what's cooking? What are you working on?
So we're launching, I think we should be launching in about 2 weeks, our tallow line. So that's going to be glowwithtallow.com. And I have my show, which we were doing 6 days a week. But we've slowed down a little bit because of the tallow. Yeah. And you know how long they are. So it's been a lot. I have 20 right now that we have not released yet because, it takes time to edit. And we've been making tallow. So we've put a little bit of it's been a slower, but you can find all my shows at CourtneyTurner.com. I spell my name like Courtenay, CourtneyTurner.com. And all of my Substack, I've just made it so that my paid subscribers can get all of the podcasts early and ad free. So I know people were complaining about the ads. So that is a place where you can go and get it without the ads. Thank you so much for having me. And
thanks for coming. Tease, good to see you. My fearless companion throughout the mean streets of Acapulco, Mexico.
Yeah. It was great meeting Charlie and Miriam and Nature Boy, and being there with everyone despite how ill I was. For those who don't know what I do, my website is conspiracysynergy.com. It's not a podcast. It's a show I made for your friends and family who are just starting to wake up to the reality of conspiracy. And they don't feel as if they're ready for conversations like this because they don't know the basics yet. So it's a place that you send them and then they watch that and then they can tune into all of our work and they're up to bat, because it's one of those things where the people who are just starting off, a lot of the time they need help. In addition to that, I co-host Wednesdays on AM Wake Up. I'm going to be there in Tennessee doing a mini documentary in a similar capacity to the mini doc that I just did on Charlie at Anarchapulco, as well as one that I did on Derek Bros and Jorge Morik over from Geopolitics and Empire. And I'm going to be continuing to release those mini documentaries at conspiracysynergy.com. So the first one's already up. That's from Graham and Darren from Grimerica. You can go there and watch all this stuff for free. And that's a way for the viewers to get to better know their favorite podcasters and their stories and what's going on behind the scenes, because I think those are really important things to share. Also, touching on the censorship that we'd all gone into a little bit before, something I'd recommend people do is create business cards. Nice little snazzy things that you can hand out to people wherever you are, so that they'll be able to get to your websites directly, because you never know when you're going to be having a conversation with somebody when you're just out on the road, and that gives you a quick, easy in for them to be in the know. So you can go to conspiracysynergy.com if you want to help other people turn online. Thanks, everyone.
I watched you give out about 30 of those cards.
I have poker chips for that.
I have one of your poker chips as well. Yeah. It's such a small thing, but yep, there you go. Just something to think about.
Shiny.
Yeah. I suggest everybody go check out Teese's Grimerica, the Darren and Graham show. I mean, if you watch this, then you've seen them on here a ton. It's really well done. As soon as I watched that, I was like, holy shit, man. If it's half as good as this, I'd love, I'd be more than happy to do it. So I was glad to have you following me around or walking around with me or getting it, I mean, they just you saw how it was. It was kind of organized chaos, and it's a bunch of anarchists. So they're all sort of doing their own thing anyway, but I think we jammed a bunch of stuff into that week, and I don't know, we'll see how it turns out, but I trusted you, and I thought that it was great. He did film my Bufo ceremony.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah. I had a great Bufo
on the beach in Bambuda. Did you
awesome. Yeah. When is the replay going to be available? Any idea?
Not sure. But I think people would like it if they saw. I mean, there was a lot going on. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I missed most of it. Lindsay Sharman was here, rogueways.org and Day Zero. Come check her out. We do a show together once a week on Sundays, and we just always say it's comedy so that we can say all kinds of crazy shit because Corey Hughes is on there with us, and he just you know where it's gonna go. So we just say, so come check out our comedy show Day Zero.
Fucking great show.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. We have too much fun. Don Jeffries was here from I Protest. His Substack is fantastic. I republish it at Activist Post almost every time he puts it out. I pretty much just republish it. I love his work. He's a great dude. We appreciate him. Sam Tripoli, go see him on the road or come to Nashville and see him live there and wear your tinfoil hat merch. I've got one. It's the Dodgers logo. It's fantastic. It's a kind of a new print. So I'll be supporting Sam with my tinfoil hat gear out there. Midnight Mike could not be here fighting the New World Order as he does, but we appreciate the hell out of him. And OBDM is still the funniest show in the world. Ricky, I appreciate you. I asked you for the contact info for Dr. Jack Kruse, and I just had his episode go out on Sunday, and I have you to thank for hooking that up. Who do you have on coming up that I can poach as well?
Yeah, no, I that's a huge part of the show is the networking and really just not for any other reason besides just meeting cool people and helping each other grow together. And but yeah, I just had a awesome show that I just uploaded the audio I think Friday or Saturday, and then the video is up now live. Some people might know him as a singer of Hatebreed, Jamie Josta. I grew up with Satisfaction is the Death of Desire was one of my favorite albums growing up. I was huge into metal, hardcore, not so much punk, but a little bit of punk. But anything that kind of was alternate to than what was on the radio, and it was a huge honor to have him on. He's kind of a perfect example, and I've had a couple guests like this where it's just like, don't ever just give up trying to get them on if you really want them on. I've been trying to get Jamie on for probably a couple years now, and just could not get a hold of him again. We lost contact. I threw him my email again, and then he wrote me back like 30 minutes later saying, "Hey, are you available this afternoon at 4?" I'm like, I'll make myself available.
Yeah.
So bring it out of the last second, out of nowhere. So that was really fun. I just had Donald Jeffries, Don Jeffries. I guess we're friends now. I can call him Don Jeffries.
I've had dinner with him. I can call him Don.
He was on earlier. We had an awesome, I don't know, like 90-minute discussion about all his research and some mutual friends we've like John Barber, who's hilarious, and some of the other people that we're friends with. And he's just a wealth of knowledge and really fun to discuss. Also coming up this week, a returning guest, somebody that I'm really excited about, is Steve Bassett, believe it or not, is coming back on the show this week. I know he knows who he is because he quoted him in his book. And also John Stockton's coming back on the show this week. So
no shit.
Yeah, which is a blast because I was so nervous first time I had him on. I feel like I really sucked, so I'm hoping that I'll be a little bit more calm and collective this time around. But he's awesome.
Fantastic, man.
Started a new show called The Ultimate Assist, I think it's called, and I give him so much credit. Any of these, it's easy for us to be outspoken because, most of us don't have huge followings that we could lose and huge careers that, that being outspoken about these taboo topics could cost us millions of dollars. But like some of these guys, like, Glenn Jacobs, also known as the WWE star Kane, and John Stockton, and, Jim Brewer, who's been on the show, like all these guys who are huge names, and yet they're having the same discussions we're having, knowing that they're going to piss off tons of people and it's going to hurt them down the line with deals with certain people and whatnot. And I give them so much credit because I think when shit hits the fan, that's when you really see, who really has the courage to really say what they believe, even if it's unpopular. So, yeah, it's a huge fan of these people. So, yeah, rippleeffectpodcast.com is where you can find all my stuff. It's not on YouTube, but it's on all the alternative platforms for videos and audios available everywhere. And check out Podomatic if you're looking to host a RSS feed. They've been super cool with just supporting content creators. And like I said, I've been there since 2013. I've had a lot of controversial people on, and they've always helped me out and never censored anything. So, we should support platforms like that. And that's it, I think.
Fantastic. I'm really stoked that you're having John Stockton on. That'll be great to listen to.
I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Corey Hughes, Charlie's co-host on Day Zero, did a 6-hour barn burner presentation on the AM Wake Up, Rockfin, and Rumble on the two Oswalds, JFK, and the Mossad connection. And there should be no more questions.
He's autistic for Oswald, man.
Yeah, he nailed it over and over and over. Please go check that out.
He's out of his mind on Oswald.
That sounds like
we do Day Zero every Sunday with Lindsay, and he just he's in one of those Oswald moods. It's like, holy shit, he just goes off the rails. So I understand. I drove to Pueblo and back with him, and then shared a room with him. I understand. We got the angle out of the hotel window.
Got the angle out of the dangle.
Was he just on a really big show? I feel like he was on Fresh and Fit, right?
Oh, dude, he went to go do.
He was just on Jake Shields. Yeah. And Dan, what's his name? Balzarian or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Mr. Mullet. I don't know.
Yeah.
The famous.
Go check out Macroaggressions. Last week I had Corbett on. This week I have Dr. Jack Cruz. We talk about Bitcoin in South America, rewriting the constitution for the country of Suriname and putting them on a Bitcoin standard. And he was down there doing that in the middle of working with their government on the national level while I was doing this interview with him. And he was just he was just fucking shot out of a cannon as he often is. So I highly recommend people checking that out. And activistpost.com should probably be bookmarked or get it on your phone and just take a look at it every day and see what sort of articles we've got in there. It's from a lot of the people that you find on this show, and they're outstanding international content creators, authors that are telling the story about things that are actually happening at a time in which it's dangerous to talk about it, not 3 years after the fact. So please check it out. Also, naturalblaze.com if you're interested in alternative health. We post articles about that, so you can check it out and support the websites. Ricky, anything else?
No, I think we're back to our regular scheduled program when Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, look out for that every other Monday on YouTube. And then also the videos are uploaded within 24 to 48 hours on Rumble. So you can check that out. The Rumble app is actually pretty useful because you can kind of use it as a podcast app and a video app because you can minimize it in the background and just play the audio. So you can do that. And then the audio is available everywhere. I know we have a lot of people on the call. Some people enjoy seeing our pretty faces and putting faces to the voices. I don't know if anybody can predict the way Nature Boy looks just by hearing him. They probably assume Fabio, maybe a long, beautiful hair.
I have the perfect face for radio, Ricky. The perfect face.
I use that line all the time.
It's an oldie but goodie, man. How could you not? How could you
Hey,
not?
thanks everybody for coming out. We appreciate it. You guys all hung in there. Took spirited.
Charlie's fitting.
Makes the product more entertaining. That's all I gotta say.
100%.
Right, let's have these discussions here, and sharpen ourselves up, and then go out into the world and make sure that we've tested our beliefs and we're allowed to change our mind on some things. That's okay too. There's no shame in that.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
You got it, baby. You got it. Hey, come out and support these live events wherever they may be.
Yes.
You won't regret it. Just trade some of these soon to be worthless Federal Reserve notes in for actual experiences with human connections, and then network and start to grow your little circle of people for your own mental well-being, and also, maybe for safety reasons in the future. So it's good to know some people. So thanks everybody for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. And let's get Steve on Pierce Morgan.
Have a good week.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Have a
Somebody
great
set that up.
Yeah, let's tweet them. See you guys. Have a great night.